Welcome to Body Efficiency Training. Now this training is all about correct posture and body flow. So there's two things we've got to do. We've got to learn the correct alignment of our skeleton in various postures for things we have to do, and this will give us the maximum strength with the minimum effort for doing them. And then we also have to mobilize our body, and we want complete freedom of movement. And to get that, we practice this body flow. So I also call this elastic body flow, but you can also think of this as snake style animal flow. Now the snake is a very, very important animal, and in some cultures it was also thought of as the king of the animals. Now why is this? It's to do with the morphology. The snake morphology is the most efficient morphology for movement. If you Google the most common life form on earth, you'll see it's a tiny little worm. So the snake and the worm is so ubiquitous, it's everywhere because it's so efficient. And here you can see me rolling over, and I'm only allowed to use the spine, the hips and the shoulders to try and move, not allowed to use the arms and the legs. So I'm using a powerful arch in the spine and a twist in the obliques, and this is strengthening and mobilizing the spine. And the spine is still a snake. We still have a snake within us, and that is the spine, but it's become rigid. We've lost the mobility of it, we've lost the control of it, and we need to regain that mobility and control for a more efficient body. And if we can do this, the energy flows through our body better. It's very, very important. We cannot underestimate the benefits of mobilizing and strengthening the spine. We don't realize that how standing around in a bad posture is actually doing us damage. We have aches and pains, and every time we bend over and lift things up, we're stretching the muscles, pulling the vertebrae too much, and causing ourselves some damage. We need to learn how to mobilize all the joints, and in particular the spine, and even out the pressure through our body. This is the thing we do. A snake can do some incredible things. It has great strength, but it has evened out what it's doing throughout its whole spine, its whole structure. It is a kinetic chain. Every vertebra is linked together with muscles, and it has complete control of all of those muscles. Now we have a different skeleton. Our skeleton is more complex, but we've also lost control of it. We don't know what we're doing. We're using the wrong muscles to do certain things. There's better ways of doing the things that we do. And in fact, we want complete freedom of movement, which is why the snake style is the most efficient way of doing this. Trying to move like a snake is creating waves and ripples and whips through the body and moving things inside the body as well as outside the body. We're also moving the blood and the lymphatic system when we try to move around like a snake. This is very, very important. And it moves to something that I also call peristaltic motion. See, the movement of fluids inside your system is peristalsis. Peristalsis is the movement of the food as it goes through your digestive system. It's inside a tube, and the tube is squeezing sequentially along to move the food along your intestines. And this is what we're doing in snake style movement. You're moving waves and ripples through your body, and this is like peristalsis. So inside your body is moving the lymphatic system, moving the blood, and moving the other fluids in the body also. So it's very, very good for us. There's longevity and health benefits to trying to do this snake style body flow, or any animal flow. See, all animals have a greater connection to their body than we do. We're living in our mind too much. We're living in a mental world, and because of that, this mental world is quite abstract, and we've lost the feeling of our body. We need to regain our connection to our body and feel inside our body. It's not so much about thinking, but it's about feeling. We've got to feel a flow in our body. We've got to feel the connection between the joints in our body. We've got to mobilize the spine and feel every single vertebra of the spine and try to activate it and mobilize it. We should have control of all the muscles in our body, but we don't. And it still amazes me that we don't. Why don't we have this control of our body? Our brain is connected to every part of the body, but why can we not control it? Why can we not feel it? So we've got to work on this, and just trying to do the simplest, smallest things, trying to control the body directly is very, very important. This is also brain training. You're training the body-brain connection. And when you train body flow, when you try and flow through your body, you're keeping this connection going. You're trying to continuously feel through your body as you flow movements through it. And this is maintaining that mind-body connection. It's very, very important. And if we can do this, we unify ourselves. We link ourselves together. Our mind, body, spirit can come together into a single unit. And this is a very efficient way of being. In fact, it's the most efficient way of being, period. This helps us in all aspects of life. So although I'm doing these very odd movements here like a snake, you can see me here trying to move forward and backwards, what I'm really doing is trying to feel deep down inside my body. I'm trying to feel the spine, feel the hips, feel the shoulders, and try and link everything together. I'm linking my spine to my hips and my shoulders and moving them as a unit. Now the center of motion from the spine is actually mid-spine, about solar plexus level. And you can think of the spine as divided into four quadrants, or the torso divided into four quadrants that control the spine. You have the two sides, two sides of the rib cage, and then you have the two obliques either side. So these are the four quadrants, and you can mobilize and activate the rib cage by arching and stretching open the rib cage, and you can mobilize the waistline by tensing alternate obliques. But you've always got to keep the TA muscle pulled in. This is very important. The TA muscle is the deepest layer of the abdominals. It's the muscle that pulls your navel to the spine. That's the one that we forget about. We've forgotten how to hold that one in. You've got to hold the belly in. There should always be some tension in your belly. And this is important because you don't want to put pressure down into your lower belly. You don't want the organs to fall down and you put pressure there as you crunch and hunch forward. And this is risk of a hernia. And a lot of problems are because of this. So we want to learn how to open up the spine. You lift up the rib cage. The internal organs can rise up a bit, and you pull the stomach in, the belly in, just a bit. There should be some slight tension there always, particularly when you're standing up, because you need to hold the spine in the right position. We've got to fight against gravity. Gravity is pulling us down, and our body is built in such a way that it holds us against gravity. But the reason gravity wins is we don't hold our body right. We let go of the correct muscles. There are certain muscles we have to use. We're only using the ones that we think, or the minimum required ones. And in fact, when we hold ourselves in the wrong posture, we use the wrong muscles, and we get so used to it, we think that is the natural posture. It's not. The natural posture takes a bit of work to find it. You've got to do a bit of work to do this thing, like pulling in the TA muscle, holding a tension in the glutes. But these are stronger muscles designed to do that, and it won't take long before you get a hang of it, and your body does it for you naturally. You hold yourself naturally in the correct position. And in this animal flow, we're moving around freely, all different ways, but we're trying to remember the natural neutral position of our body. You've got to learn the S-curve of the spine and learn how to spring back to it. You move away from it by arching and bending and twisting, but you always spring back to it. You see, there's two things we're doing. Structure, which is under a great control, is sort of rigid. You can think of structure like karate katas, holding your body in stiff, strong movements, positions. But then we want freedom of movement, snake-style body flow, complete movement, ripples, waves, everything moves like it's fluid, like it's elastic. And everything happens somewhere between these two things. And I call them, the structure-based stuff I call dynamic tendon isometrics. You've got to hold your body strong in a geometric structure to do something. And then this freedom of movement I'm calling elastic body flow. You've got to move around, but you're like made of elastic. And here you can see me balancing, but it's the same thing. I'm moving the spine, moving the body, allowing all types of movement to happen, but I'm trying to spring back to the natural optimum alignment of the spine. And if I can do that, then I can balance. So this is the secret of balancing. Balancing requires you to be able to move in all different directions so that you can spring back to the balance point. But working on this, as I said, there's two main reasons to work on this. One is extremely good for you. It's one of the most efficient types of training to do, is this snake-style body flow. You let your body move. You're increasing your relaxation. You've got to learn how to relax so that things move freely. If there's tension in your body, that thing will be stiff. It won't roll. It won't move. So you've got to be able to feel relaxation in your body. But there's also tension. You've got to learn how to spring back to the correct alignment. You don't want to be hanging around in a loose position. So you've got mobility, flexibility, but if you're too flexible and you don't know alignment, when you sit down you just collapse into whatever position you fall into. So you also need the structure. You need to know the correct alignment as well as having the complete freedom of movement. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this little video. Look forward to seeing you in the next one.